What? I do know that exists, but I've never been. The Brits will appreciate that. That is absolutely amazing. Oh, that's so good. That's so English. I see your thing.
Oh, wow. And this episode is truly a special one. 137 with Ryan Tuckwood, owner of Swish Company. He teaches all things with sales with integrity. Tell me what's happening in Ryan's world.
Ryan's world was machinery. I'm very methodical, very process driven, which back then I didn't know that was going to serve me, but it serves me exceptionally well now to not just growing a business, but growing a business that is based around systems, processes, and understanding behavior. Humans, there's so many variables. It's hard, but then if you really study humans, there are a lot of overlap. And that's why when we talk to people, often we're like, I don't get it. Like, they need what I have. Like, they need it. There's a gap. I found the gap, but they still say no. Our job is to get people into the right buying state, because all behaviors are state dependent, and then to help them change the identity of who they are as a person so that they can become that buyer.
If you were to give the listeners the one key, what would that piece of advice be?
Key.
We're here with Keys to the Queendom. I am your host, Tamara Meyer, and this episode is truly a special one. 137 with Ryan Tuckwood. We have been back and forth since last year to make this episode possible. And the reason why this episode is truly something that's close to my heart is because this person, who is the owner of Swish Company, he teaches all things with sales with integrity. He's been on Shark Tank and he's got a pool of knowledge, but the most important thing is he's all about leadership, legacy, and human behaviors in sales as well. He's going to teach you guys all things about ethical sales, getting to know Ryan a lot more too, and what is the next big thing for him that he's really going to be sharing on this podcast. For me personally, the girl who loves to speak, the girl who loves sales as well, I'm really truly excited to be giving this episode to you guys as well, especially because after this episode, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break because your girl's rebranding. Don't worry, we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time, especially my favourite studio here at The Nest. Shout out to Abby and Dean. But the last thing I wanted to add with this episode is really about taking notes. And if you haven't already subscribed yet, make sure you do with Keys to the Queendom. Now, let's take it away with Ryan Tuckwood. Well, we're here with Ryan Tuckwood. I'm super excited to have you on Keys to the Queendom. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I feel like it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, and I was actually saying to Abby before, we've been organising this for a while, so that's again like divine timing.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to bring this up before we get into it because I definitely want to know how it all began. But I only got into your world at your last year event, the biggest one I think you did.
Was that the first time?
The first time.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
and I don't know why I'm again like divine timing on everything. But I've been in business now for only 3 years. I've come from a fitness background, so I've gotten into loving sales, which I can't wait to talk about as well. But honestly, when I came to that event and watched you speak and everything we're going to be diving into today, I really just love the way you talk about sales, and I think we're going to get into that as well. But yeah, so I came to your event, absolutely love what you're doing. So I want the listeners to get to know you more.
Thanks for coming. So you came.
I went by myself.
Did you?
Yeah.
I love that. I love people that go to events by themselves, firstly. I mean, I used to go to events on my own, not so I could learn more or anything. It's just I would fully immerse in it. Whereas I'm an introvert by nature. I don't actually like socializing, don't like humans. So I wouldn't. I put up a story today actually on Facebook of 7 years ago today, I was at my first Tony Robbins event. Wow. And I went to that by myself because I knew if I went with somebody else, I'd be more concerned what they thought of me jumping up and down than actually just committing and doing it. So yeah, anybody that goes to events themselves is cool.
I definitely love it. Yeah.
But to the point about that event being the first one, you got a baptism of fire then. You got like the best version of us because
it was amazing.
10 years ago, there were 3 people there.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it because you showed the photo, the very first photo.
Yeah, that wasn't even 10 years ago. That was 2017.
Yeah.
It would have been 7 years ago.
But it's again, like I'm only stepping into an event myself and a bit of ego terms always like, I need to get numbers. I need to make sure people come. But that was just, again, like great opportunities that you can still serve 3 people and make an impact.
Yeah.
And your message is all about impact as well.
Yeah.
And so coming to your event was honestly massive. But for the listeners who don't know who you are, before Swish, which I only found out what it stands for, let me get it right, Sales with Integrity and Sales Honesty. Is that right?
Selling with integrity, selling honestly, yeah.
nearly got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, before
Close
all of that, tell me what was happening in Ryan's world.
Ryan's world was machinery. So I was a mechanical engineer for 8 years in the UK. If I go back even further than that, growing up, I was just obsessed with becoming a professional footballer, like every English person out there. My whole world was football or soccer, and then I played it at a half decent level. Got released when I was 17. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. Looked into the physio side of things and personal trainer. I was a qualified personal trainer, but never actually went into it. At the time, my auntie was a recruiter for an engineering plant, and she got me a job there just temping. And over time, I learnt the trade. They put me through college and study, and did that for 8 years. So I'm very methodical, very process driven, which back then I didn't know that was going to serve me, but it serves me exceptionally well now to not just growing a business, but growing a business that is based around systems, processes, and understanding behaviour, essentially.
I think Anna was saying you're very big on human behaviour as well. So tell me what, with the methodologies and systems, what's that brought into your world now?
I think it's opened up so many areas of my world, like even emotionally, like understanding humans, that we're not all. It sounds so obvious when you scan out, you go, obviously we're not all the same.
But we don't think that.
We don't think that. We don't. I mean, I worked with a machine for 8 years, and if it was broken, you take something out. If that didn't fix it, you put it back in. You try something else, and you could measure the data and the inputs versus the outputs of everything that was going on. Humans, there's so many variables. It's hard. But then if you really study humans, there are a lot of overlaps. There's a lot of things that are quite predictable. So for me, when I moved over to Australia in 2010 and I fell into a call center, initially I didn't see that overlap of engineering processes to humans. I just saw this is hard. Like, I'm calling 300 people a day, getting punched in the face 295 times a day. This is really shit. And it was only when my old boss, Jack, actually challenged me to obsess over the art and craft, and they were the words he used, the art and craft of sales and communication, that it kind of put me on the spot to either leave or figure it out. My initial choice was to leave, as you heard at the event, but he kind of talked me around and set me the challenge of 60 days to understand it. And I said, if I'm going to try and understand something, maybe these engineering principles could cross over. And can I look, is there a cause and effect of why people make certain decisions? If I say this word, can that impact the value they hear? If I said it in this order, I'm just swapping order of stuff. I'm looking at the script, looking at the questions. I'm just switching stuff around. I didn't know I was doing it to start a business. I had no idea that I'd end up becoming a sales coach and teaching all of these principles, but it overlapped massively.
It's amazing too, because I think we overcomplicate so many things in sales. And I actually have a sales coach, and he's like, it's simple. Something's missing. They have a problem. Identify the problem, speak to their language, and then help them see there's change that you can help them with.
So I'd take that a step further, because I would agree with that.
Because I'm new.
But I would 100% agree with that. But the first part, and I didn't realize this till a few years in, was it doesn't matter how much rationale, how much logic, how much emotional connection you got with somebody. If they're not in the right state to hear your message in the first place, then the message will be lost. And that's why when we talk to people, often we're like, I don't get it. Like, they need what I have. Like, they need it. There's a gap. I found the gap. But they still say no, or they still go away. They still say you're too expensive, or I've chosen somebody else. And that's just a state thing. Like, our job is to get people into the right buying state, because all behaviors are state dependent, and then to help them change the identity of who they are as a person so that they can become that buyer and they can become that decision maker. So I think if we take those two principles and then plug the process in, it massively increases your chances of actually having the impact that you want to have.
And I love that, because it's shifting their belief in themselves and then what's possible. And it comes, so how do you shift their identity on something, on a sales call like that, just before the...
So I think that there's a lot of things that we need to do to kind of lower their sales defenses before they even let you in in the first place. Like, we've all had that friend where they're just like, I don't want your advice. I just want you to listen to me. Or that ex-wife that doesn't want fixing. So I'm an engineer, right? I want to fix things. She tells me I've got a problem. I'm going to try and fix it. But they don't want to hear it. And that maybe that's just a man and woman thing. But I think there's certain scenarios where people come into your world, sales or personal business, and their defenses are already high and they don't want advice. So For me, it's about removing all of the triggers that raise those sales defenses. So this one still kills me when people go, "I'm not trying to sell you anything."
Yeah.
People say this shit.
Really?
They say, I hear it all. I mean, my job is to listen to recordings and to watch people and shadow people. And
Yeah.
they're like, I'm not trying to sell anything. I said, like, all you just embedded into their subconscious there was I'm selling you something.
Yeah, that's true.
You said the right words,
Yeah.
but they didn't hear it. Or you do a cold outreach and you say, hi, am I speaking to? If I said, hi, am I speaking to Tamara? I've just admitted I don't know you, which automatically raises your sales defenses. Anything where it could be said by somebody else at some stage, we got to remove.
Yeah.
So any sort of trigger where you go, oh, they might have heard this before. What's your budget?
So smart.
Gong.io was brilliant for that. Well, still are brilliant for this. They
Who
do
was that?
Gong, Gong.io.
Yeah.
So they're do you know Gong?
No.
It's basically a bit of AI software that listens to your phone calls, your Zooms, and it will say on this podcast, Tamara spoke 37% of the time, Ryan spoke 63% of the time. These are the keywords that really triggered a response out of Ryan. So then you can go, all right, I'll use that on the next podcast. So we plug it into phone calls, and they did a study. This was over in the States, and they said if you say the word budget, if you ask somebody what their budget is, it reduces your chances of making a sale by 32%.
Wow.
Just saying the word. So I can say, hey, look, put me in the right stratosphere. Like, what sort of funds have you considered for investing in this? That's fine. It's the same question without the word budget.
Yeah, that's so much better.
The word budget says you're a salesperson qualifying me. And if you're a salesperson, I have to play my part in this game. I'm now playing consumer. What do consumers do? We say, let me think about it. You're too expensive. Can I have a discount?
Let me speak to my spouse. Yada, yada, yada.
All of that stuff. And it's our fault.
Yeah.
Like we're building an AI twin of me at the moment.
That'll be good.
And it's, I want it to be 6'3". And the aim of it is that it can sit on your calls live and it can tell you what objections are about to come up by virtue of the words that you've said. So it can coach you live and say, hey, just quickly reframe that before your next question.
Wow.
Because that's how I spent my early days as a sales leader in the old company I used to manage. I just sit and listen to calls live. Have you ever been in like a call center environment?
Actually, I've always just been an entrepreneur. I've
Yeah,
learnt the hard way.
you're a natural, yeah.
I know.
So if you go into a call center, they have barge facilities on their phones where you could be on a call right now to a real human, and I can listen in. So I put my headset on, you've got yours on, I'm listening, and I can coach you live.
Wow.
So like the one we've got, it has what's called whisper function. So I can actually be in another room. I could be on a plane
That's insane.
and listen to you live on a call,
Yeah.
and I could press whisper. You can hear me in one ear, they can't hear it, and I can coach you live.
So good.
So, and that's the best results I've ever got as a coach, or when I'm doing that. So basically, I'm just closing all the deals live. So I want to create a 24/7 version of that where I'm on every single call with every single one of our members, and can, by virtue of the questions they're asking, the tone, the language they're using, I can go, you're probably going to get a spouse objection in about 3 minutes.
Wow.
Use this analogy right now.
Wow.
Because when I've done it live manually over the years, it's second to none from a coaching perspective.
That is insane.
So-
And again, like I love sales. As I said, I'm very new. I've had my experiences of had where, you know, like you've been sold to, people have manipulated you, they've done empty promises. So what I love about what you do is you're changing people's perception on sales. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
But the way you teach it and the way you're giving other people the opportunity to be better communicators, and also the number one thing people need to learn is sales, right? What do you think is the number one thing anyone needs to learn from sales, even if they're not doing sales yet, or even if they don't have sales or they don't need sales in their business?
Yeah.
What has sales taught you for life?
I think there's two parts to that. I think firstly, so you said our aim and our mission is to change the perception of sales. I think we need to change our perception of sales as a salesperson first. Like our job is we're not doing something to someone, we're doing something for them. And that, it sounds cheesy, sounds cliche, but it's so true. Like you have to be 100% sold on whatever it is you're offering.
Yeah, that's true.
To the extremes of, if you, and I have what I call a salesperson's duty of care that I go through the boot camp. I think I did it at the conference actually. And it's, how dare you not sell to somebody if you know they need your services?
Yes.
Okay. If you've got an insurance offer, you've got whatever it is.
Yeah.
What are they? Curtains, whatever. Can't think of anything.
White curtains.
Instantly could not think of any product in the world. Whatever it is there somebody out there that could offer your prospect the same service, but it's going to be substandard. And they decide to go to them, use their services, get a substandard service. They go pay $5,000 instead of $10,000. And then 6 months later, they have to come back to you, pay your $10,000. They've already spent 5. Now they've spent 15, and they've lost 6 months of getting results. That's your fault, right? We have to be really hell-bent on understanding that. And that takes a lot of looking into our own services and going, would I pay for this? And if I wouldn't pay for it, why? Maybe I'm not the perfect client for curtains. That's fine. But do I genuinely believe that this is going to help this person? So that's the first part. And then the second part is, I kind of touched on it earlier, it's that state piece. We have to recognize that people are making decisions based on the state that they are in that moment of time. And if we don't have an ability to get them into what I call buying state, then they're not going to take any action. They're going to go into fight or flight mode, and then or even freeze mode. So changing and altering somebody's state is a process of lots of tiny 1%ers, which could be getting your pre-information sent out with a picture of you instead of just a bio, so that it humanizes that. So they go, I'm dealing with a human here, not a sales consultant. I spoke about this earlier today. A great example is through COVID, there was a rise of customer aggression on Uber drivers, pizza delivery people for Domino's. Pizzas were 5 minutes late, which they've always been, but people were angrier because of their state. They're having to use a QR code to check into places. They're having to get vaccinated against their will, whatever it may be. People are angry, right? That's their state. So what did Domino's do? What did Uber do? They showed you a picture of the Domino's delivery driver on the app, and it said, hey, Paul is delivering your pizza. He's on a bike. He loves the Sydney Rabbitohs, and his favorite pizza topping is pepperoni. They humanized it. The customer complaints and aggression went down tenfold. So all they did was focus on changing the state. They didn't do any, they still weren't on time, but they changed the state of the person receiving whatever it is.
And coming back to the state that you're in, I had actually shared with my clients. So what I do now, and it's something my mentor taught me, I either give my clients their feedback of their sales calls on my mastermind, and I give them like, this is where you could have done better. And then I do my own for them to see. And I shared one where I was actually quite wobbly on the call. I had something happen personally just before, and I was like, I still want to, I know this is important. So I still showed up for the call and I closed. But I was very like non-authoritative. You could see it in my face. So in those moments like that, changing states when things are going on, what do you give advice for people like that? Is that something that is something you believe in, like
I never used to.
I was like, well.
I mean, I'm a C personality type in accordance with DISC, if people believe in that stuff. So I'm very conservative. I'm not rah-rah. As much as we had fireworks at our event, that's not really my go-to. That's my customer experience team. I love it now. I get it. I get the principles of why everything is done. It needs to be done because not everybody's the same as me. So no, I used to just be like, just get on the phone. Just get on with it.
Yes.
And I love the piece there that you said you actually self-reflected and shared it with people, because it wasn't until my old boss, Shane, back in the day, played recordings of good calls versus bad calls, or like he played different day calls as well. So this is how you show up on a Friday. This is how you show up on a Monday. And there was differences. There's obvious tonal differences. There's energetic differences. And sometimes we just go, nah, I'm the same all the time. You're not. So I think seeing it firstly is important. So that helped me understand that, well, if there is a shift, what can I do to create an anchor so I show up the same every time? I found mine. I met a guy called Michael Crossland. Do you know Michael Crossland? No. He'd be good. Be good on this.
Michael, you're coming on.
Yeah, you'll cry. He'll cry. Everyone will cry. So I had him speak at my boot camp 3 years ago, and we had 200 odd people in there. We never bought so many tissues. Like a phenomenal story. I won't ruin the story, but he's a very unassuming character, and he speaks on stages with Sir Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, like tours the world. Yeah. Shares his story, and I met him through a friend in maybe 2021, something like that, or 22, the height of COVID. Now, I do need to tell you a bit of the story. He has no immune system because of stuff that happens, right? So imagine living through COVID with no immune system. At one stage, he was only given 1 year to live when he was born.
What does he do?
That's all I'll give you. He's just a motivational speaker. Wow. He goes around and shares his story.
That's amazing.
So imagine living through COVID with no immune system. And he's quite I want to say, introverted character. And I said to him, you don't strike me like the guy that would speak on stage in front of thousands of people. Like, how do you mentally prepare for that? And he said, I've just got this little regulation piece, these 3 steps that he goes through. So I took his 3 steps and turned it into what I call MAP now. So I don't forget my MAP. So it's 3-prong: meditate or just take a moment is the M. Now, I don't meditate. As much as Navdeep would have liked me to earlier on, I don't meditate, but I take a moment. And my meditation is 60 seconds. So before whatever it is I need to regulate for, whether it be this event, whether it be standing on stage, whether it be a sales call, I take a moment. The A is appreciation. So I just have something that I go to, which is an anchor, and I'll share what that is in a second. And then the P is practical activation. So physically move. I didn't understand the science behind that, so I had to look into it. And what we're doing, as you probably know, is super saturating our frontal lobes with oxygen so that we can think rationally and logically, not emotionally. I don't want to go into a call emotional. I want to go in there rational, going, what is the first words going to be out of my mouth? Otherwise, it's just all over the place. So for me, take a moment, appreciate, usually go towards just thinking about my dad, my kids, my dad still being here after many years when we thought he wouldn't. And then I just do like a few star jumps or just a little bit of movement.
So simple, but it's so effective.
Well, I needed something that I could take anywhere.
Yes.
I don't want to have to play music. I don't want to have to read anything. I need something that I can activate instantly, because when you don't know when you need to regulate.
True.
I might need to regulate in traffic on the way here because I'm running late.
Which is fine.
which is real. And in that, I might have to regulate when I'm trying to get the kids out the car into school, and I've got a meeting to get to. So, yeah, I needed something that I could just have. Tony Robbins has got his trampoline out the back. I can't.
Oh, that would be sick.
I can't. Yeah, most people, most speakers do have something of that nature, but it's because of that principle. I believe they're trying to get themselves in the right state.
I have so many amazing questions around speaking with you because, again, I watched you speak and you were like 1,000 people in the room, an introvert, fuck, and I loved it. But I also want to find out when you were on Shark Tank, because I think it's if I'm right in saying this, for the first time ever, 3 investors said yes. So take us back to that moment.
Yeah.
And any behind the scenes stuff that we didn't know what was going on as well.
Well, I have to blow trumpets here a little bit. So 3 investors said yes, and we kept them. That's the important part, because people have had 3 offers before, but they don't keep them. So 92% of the offers that you see on the show don't go through. So they go, like, we went through 6 months of due diligence afterwards. And I firstly, I didn't want to go on it. I don't know if I shared this at the thing, but
I think you did.
Jack just applied and told me that we'd already been accepted to go on, because I thought it was a crazy idea. Why would we take a business that was already doing pretty well?
Yeah.
Why would we risk it all, in my eyes, and try to sell? That's what we were doing. We're sales coaches, and we're going to try and sell on TV.
That's insane.
In my head, if we didn't, and Jack had not even considered this because he doesn't think negatively like I do.
He's so sweet.
So for me, it was like, if we don't get investors, then we've just proven our business doesn't work. That's where my thinking went. Jack is a lot more optimistic than I am in general, and you need those people in your life to kind of balance you out. And he said, well, it's a bit late now. We've already been accepted. So then I go into process, training, practice, repetition. So what's the offer? What are we asking for? He's like, I don't know, we'll figure that out. It was like November, we were filming in March. I'm like, no, why would you apply without knowing what we're going to ask for? So yeah, crazy experience. They're still with us today now, nearly 8 years later. I caught up with Andrew last week in Sydney. They're great. They've been phenomenal.
How did you pitch that as well? Because obviously was there a strategic, of course, I would imagine, but like, what was your game plan for that?
Game plan. So I don't know if I would have spoken about this at the conference, are what we call our 300% rule of value, MCP, my self-company product. So we know whenever we're pitching anything, whenever we're presenting anything, there's 3 verticals that the consumer, the investor, whoever it is buying into, and that's myself, the company, and the product. in that order. So we knew that we needed to connect as humans. So we built in certain parts of Jack's story. So Jack, we decided Jack was going to go on. I didn't want to do that until I got pulled out last minute, even though I didn't want to do it. So we pulled out, and this is sales, right? Selling is telling your truth better.
Yeah.
Jack has a colourful background. He grew up in a council estate in England around drugs and violence. His dad was in jail. It's all a real story, but we had to embed that into our pitch because that's what connects. And I never used to put those parts into my sales conversations of what's happening in my life, and I don't have anything as colourful as Jack, but there's certain elements now that I bring in because I'm like, well, it is me and it is real, and that's what connected us to them. And if there's one moment in the episode, if you've seen it, where Jack literally says, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to share this, and looks over his shoulder. Yeah. We rehearsed that. We practiced that. Like and
I haven't seen it actually. I'm going to watch it after.
Just watch out for it. And you see
you rehearsed that.
That Steve and Glenn both lean in at that moment, which he dropped down in secrecy tone. When you nail secrecy tone, you look around for approval. There's no not looking at anyone. Yeah. But the body language with the words and the tone draw you in, human behavior. And that's when the offer started to come almost immediately after that. Nothing to do with the actual product. And I'm sure Glenn at one stage says, I'm going to invest in you guys anyway. Doesn't matter, even if it's not this product, I'm investing in you. And they all say it. I'm investing in the person, not the product.
So true. I was, and I love that you shared this because I've never done a pitch deck before, but I've got a vision and I've only been sharing it a lot lately because it's hit me with like lightning bolts. Like I was like, Jesus, this is what I have to do. But I was speaking to a friend who helps, obviously he's an investor, and I just said to him, like, what do I do? He goes, your story. And I was like, really? Like in my mind, investors are like calculated. Obviously, they need to see the roadmap and what's going on. But to hear that, like it's true. It's always the story. It's always you. Just
so you know, we didn't have a pitch deck back then. We didn't even get a proper business valuation.
Really?
We had no idea what we were doing.
This was 7 years ago.
7 years ago. Yeah. We had no idea. We undervalued the business massively. We didn't know. We just wanted Steve. Steve was our target because he's Queensland tech. Businesses in the US that was becoming our target. We didn't know. Jack just rolls the dice. Like I've had to learn to roll the dice. Yeah. This guy's just throwing dice everywhere, and some of them land.
We all need a Jack.
We all need a Jack. And for a certain period of my life, I needed that in my life until I learned to roll my own dice. Yeah. And now, like I've adopted probably 10% of his. Confidence is not the right word, but optimism. I think optimism in life and opportunity, and now I can do it myself. And I think him holding my hand for a certain period was great. He exited in 2020. Yeah. So I've been by myself, but also with the Sharks for the last 5 years. Yeah. And now I'm the maverick. My team are like, oh God, he's gone away for 2 weeks. What ideas is he going to come back with?
You're like, this is what we're going to be doing. Visionary here, and everyone's like,
so I'm visionary now.
Yeah. I didn't know you could change.
Okay, so it only changed through proof because I need proof, and once I've got enough proof stacked up, data, then I'll make data-driven decisions. So now I'm like, I'm going to put on an event. When I came back from Necker Island last year in April, the number we were targeting for the conference that you came to was 300. Yeah. I walked in the day I got back and I wiped 300 off and changed it to 1,000 because of the people I'd been around with on that island for 5 days. Then my belief via osmosis went up as well. Like so many people had proven to me the data of that more was achievable. Yeah. You can't be around that for a prolonged amount of time and not change your beliefs. So I think that environment, as cliche as it sounds, is really important.
I remember you sharing the story because you were in the golf buggy with Sir Richard, and you're like, oh my God, I'm in this. What do I say?
Even that, when I look back at those pictures, it doesn't feel real. It's like an out of body experience.
That's insane. One beautiful thing, as I said, the first time I came and watched your event, I was sitting there, and that was a tough year too for you. What was going on behind the scenes? I asked the question because one, what we spoke about before, anchoring, things can be wobbly in life. You had massive goals with everything happening. What was happening at that
24?
time? 2020. Well, I've got 2024 with what happened with your dad, but 2023 also was something.
24 was weird because literally Dad was getting some cancer results the day of the event. That's in between the 2 days. So 12:20 a.m. The event was Thursday, Friday. Thursday night into Friday morning, 12:20 a.m. our time, UK time, whatever it was, he was getting his results, whether the cancer had come back, which was
so scary.
fortuitous coincidence. I don't know, but anyway, so that's a regulation piece, right? It's happening. What can we do? We can either contract and just sit in it and wallow, or we can use it as a catalyst and tell my truth better. Like I shared it on stage. The year prior, 2023, was when I separated with my wife. We've been together 12 years. So that's 2.5 years on we are now as we sit here today. And that's anybody that's gone through divorce knows that depending on the complexities, there's lots of things that go on with that. So we're divorced on paper, but we haven't done complete settlement just yet and parenting plans, but we're relatively amicable.
I was going to say, like, what was the decision based on that?
Decision, I think it had compounded over a few years. And it's interesting being in this space. Like, I'm a very different person to where I was
At the start.
Oh, chalk and cheese. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah.
And I think you come to a stage in your life where you acknowledge that there's going to be seasons and there's stages, and you're either going to grow together or you're going to grow in different directions. And I think we got to that conclusion. And after that, I decided I was going to have a period where I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to focus on the business, focus on my boys for a while. And that served me well. But what I didn't do was wallow. Like, I made a conscious decision when we separated that I'm not going to, what's the point in it? I think I've been fortunate. I'm 43. I'm not young.
You look younger.
I feel young.
Yeah.
I feel good. But I've been exposed to a lot. I've been exposed to a lot of business owners that let certain things in their life, whether it be financial, personal, emotional, and it totally derails them for years. And I make a decision when anything happens, that's not happening to me. Like, I'm not going to. My dad got cancer at 43. He's still here, but he was given like a couple of weeks to live. My granddad, I might get this the wrong way around, but my granddad died at 56, and his dad died at 46 or something. Like, so there's something. I mean, that's on my mum's side. I'm like, I'm 43, but I also remember when I was 16, 17, I was playing men's football in the UK, and I remember some of the guys I played with were 26 or 27, and I used to think they were so old.
Yeah, and you look at people now, you're like, oh wow.
Now I'm looking at, and this is another thing that I've been exposed to. I now coach people that are, I coach people in their 60s, 70s, but I coach 17, 18-year-old entrepreneurs, like kids that are really got a brain for business
now, hey.
And I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And I'm fascinated with where that wiring comes from.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, because I'm like, you guys are going to go fly past me. If I can sit and wallow in this divorce for 2 years, and you guys are going to take over. Like, there's always another coach coming past.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm not letting that happen. Like, I'm going to keep playing the game as long as I can play the game. So I think because I've been in this arena and exposed to, we've coached 21,500 businesses and individuals globally in the last 10 years.
Epic, right?
It's a lot of people.
Yes.
And we've done a lot of counseling.
And you're 43.
And I'm 43. So we meet a lot of people, and I'm like, I don't want to go down that route. No offense to the people that need to sit in it for a while, but there are tools that we can use to regulate and work through things. And I feel, I don't know if this sounds arrogant, I feel I've got an accelerated ability to work through shit.
Yes.
Yeah, and I keep getting told, have you had an ugly cry just yet? Have you really worked through it? And I only learned ugly crying like a year ago. That's the thing, apparently.
Yeah, you did well on the stage. That wasn't ugly though.
That wasn't ugly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. So, but I don't know. I don't understand. This is going to sound bad. I don't know. I don't see the need for me to sit there and just break down.
Yeah.
I feel like I was like, oh shit, this is a really tough time. All right, what do we do now? That was my breakdown.
That's literally, I resonate. I've only.
Does it sound cold, by the way?
No, I'm like this. I'm like a female version of you, and because maybe it's the German side in me.
That makes sense.
My poor partner. No, but I've been working with a kinesiologist because I reached a threshold in my business last year that I was in my masculine so much, and I was very much like feminine is weak. Anyone that's slowing down, But she's very much like, so have you processed your emotions? I'm like, yep, I'm ready. She's like, no, you haven't. I'm like, what do you mean?
What's the metric?
Yeah, and that's it.
Where's the checklist? That's the German engineer, right? I need a checklist. Give me a checklist. I'll tell you if I've processed it. Yeah. Because it's a strange one, right? So I get that some people need to work through it, but I also
it's a bad thing.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's each their own. Everybody's slightly different, but I feel that I get made to feel cold or emotionless or heartless because I'm not doing what is considered the norm for working through a divorce. Or like Jack and I, we went through a founder exit. Like we separated in the business as well. We've lost loads of money over the time. I've been ripped off. I've had money stolen from me, but loads of stuff going on. But people project on you and they go, oh, well, look, you need to do this.
Yes.
You need to really work through this. I'm like, no, you might have done. I've already did it. I've already started organizing my next event.
Yeah. While I'm still wallowing.
Yeah. Well, the ripple effect of me wallowing is that my business is impacted. My kids are impacted. My team are impacted. The clients are impacted. So I look way beyond me. This is not about me anymore. It's almost like there's a calling now to continue. Does that mean I could be wrong about this and in 20 years time I have a big breakdown? I don't know.
Yeah.
But in the moment I feel okay.
Yeah. And I have that same belief too. And I think there's no rules, like whether people say you should process it, one day you'll pop and have a moment.
Yeah. I'm going to get so many messages after this. And just sliding into the DMs going like, I know exactly what you need. Go and have some mushrooms.
We should do that next time on a podcast.
So, I've never had a cigarette. I've never had a drug. I've never done anything in my life. Yeah.
I have.
we were so close to being the same.
So close.
Yeah,
so
it's never interested me. And I think because I'm a negative, paranoid skeptic, I think I'd die before it even hit anything.
Do you like drinking?
Not really. No, I used to. I used to drink a fair bit, but because you're English, that's brilliant. I mean, I'll go out and have a beer, but again, I know when I'm done. I don't like being out of control.
Yeah.
So the thought that I could be out there, even I'm definitely not famous, but being out there and somebody could see me losing control or embarrassingly drunk.
That's true.
And I've had partners like that in the past and I'm just totally embarrassed by them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't align with me morally and with my values. So no,
that's a good thing.
I don't need a vice. My vice is that I don't know if I work too much, but I love it.
Yeah, I'm out of my party space, but I'm in my work era.
Yeah.
So I get it.
But I think you can still, like, I love a few day drinks.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely love it. But I'm not going to drink to the detriment of turning up on a Monday and being foggy. Or I get my boys, we do 3 days on, 3 days off. So we're 50-50.
That's good.
So the morbid way of looking at it, which is where my mind normally goes, is I'm only going to see them for half of their life now.
Yeah, shit.
So I don't want to not be present for that. So to have a 0% beer instead of a normal beer, like, how good is it?
Yeah, true. It's a
fine.
very good way of thinking. I do love watching you and your boys. It's so sweet.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They're awesome. They're awesome. There is an awesome question I have around leadership for you. You know, what does leadership look like in your life when no one's watching?
Oh,
when no one's watching.
I think it is that you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
For me, it's just I can just be me. And I've said similar to my team, like imagine we're on Big Brother and people are watching us all the time.
Yeah.
Would you do what you're doing right now? Would you say what you're doing personally and professionally? Because I've had people say to me before, I keep my XYZ platform private because I don't want people to see. I'm like, what don't you want them to see? If you don't want some people to see it, then you shouldn't want anybody to see it.
Yeah, true.
If you're embarrassed about any aspect of your life, maybe we want to question the choices that we're making in that aspect of life. And that's not to be all righteous. Like I'm judgmental, and I know I am. And I think everybody is to an extent. I've probably studied humans too much.
No, but that's good.
I did, yeah. Like people are listening to this right now. Before they even hear anything, they'll see what I'm wearing. Then they'll hear my accent. They'll form an opinion. I'm English, and they'll think I'm an alcoholic, as you do. and I think you're a good engineer because you're German, right? It makes sense. And I'm sure all of your wardrobe is color coded. I hope it is.
Yes, it is.
But we form opinions of people, and it's a defense mechanism. So I do often look at that. I go, if somebody was to see me out in the streets, do I need to change the way I'm acting to conform with what somebody might think of me, or can I just be a better person?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I don't need to try. I don't need to change anything.
Yeah.
I'll just be me.
I have to share it, but I don't know if I'm allowed to share it. I'll do it anyway. No, because the wobbly moment I had prior to that call, prior to me being wobbly, was because I had closed someone and she came on her kickoff call with me, and the reason why she didn't want to continue on with me was because she was out of alignment with me. She did some research after signing the contract, and she said, do you have fillers and Botox and fake tits? I was like, excuse me? She's like, I can't work with you.
I get asked the same, by the way.
I was like, what? I was shocked.
Yeah,
so
wow.
It upset me because I do really love helping people. And so beside the fact of her saying that, it hurt me because, and maybe there is truth behind it, but in terms of me working with someone, my heart is always to get them the results that they want, like no matter what. Like, so that was pretty hard. So yeah, like people do judge.
So this is important,
But
right?
is that, yeah, sorry.
It's because I get this.
Yeah.
And we've had people, many people, corporates would say, we didn't think we could work with Ryan. We saw his socials and nothing to do with the way I act, just by virtue of what I wear.
You've said that on stage.
Suit jackets, crazy
That's your
suits,
brand.
like
I
just
love
it's my brand.
Yeah.
And the opposite happened years ago, and I'm going to ask you in a second a question about did you change because of it, is years ago, because we were trying to attract a certain corporate and we had a couple of people say that, I changed and I started to be more conservative and I lost who I was.
Yeah.
And I stopped enjoying the training. I started to really tone down my sarcasm. Like I'm English. That's all I've got. It's my gift.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
You've
You guys
got
aren't funny. And then eventually, as like we went through the founder exit, I'm like, this is my business now. I can actually design this in a way that I want it to be. Who do I want to attract? I want to attract people that appreciate me for who I am.
Exactly.
While still acknowledging that people are going to judge me. And that's the really important part. So now you would have heard me at the event. I talk about what I wear quite early on at the event.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be people there that have been kicking and screaming. And that instantly, 1.48 seconds, they've formed an opinion of me.
Yeah.
I need to say what they're thinking before they get to really manifest it into anything more than it is. Because once they verbalize it, they own it. So once I say it, it's all good. So my question for you was going to be, did you change anything after that?
This was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, this is recent.
Yeah. But no, like I would never change that because authenticity is a big part of my message. But she said yes based on a skill that I can help her. I believe she had fear.
So you can categorically help her? You know you can? Yeah. Cool. So in that situation, we have a duty of care to still move forward with the deal, but we also have a duty of care to do it in her language. So if that is a concern for her, we can't do anything now with her necessarily, but for future people that might be thinking it, because you could be missing a whole cohort out there right now that don't even come through your funnel because they think that. Same with my ads. So my language in my ads, my landing page, my socials talks to that.
That's a good idea.
I get that before they even get to say it. I'm like, the jacket probably put you off in the first place if you're still reading. Do you know what I mean? The bit that would have pushed them away will be the bit that draws them in.
So it's like Tits McGee here does actually know
genuinely.
what she's doing.
Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah,
like, and it's
so
that's probably a good ad. But it's there's truth in it because we can get annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Or we can work with it because it's human behavior because the market's not going to change.
Yeah.
And I was trying to change a market. I was trying to get people to stop being judgmental. It ain't never going to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Not en masse. So the question is, who do we want to attract? Firstly, do they fit into that funnel, that category? And if they do, then we've got to speak their language, whatever it may be.
Well, I mean, that's another big thing, not to go too much into it. I was very much speaking to her language as well, and she said so I think I do believe it's fear, but maybe she used that as an example.
Could have done.
But I'm definitely going to use Tits McGee as my
but just but on top of that as well, make sure that if we're going to speak to something, it's a common thing. It's not I got this once.
True.
If you've only ever had this once in 3 years, then maybe we don't need to go into it. Don't change it unless it's a constant. So for me, it was the constant thing I get in my hair. The way I dress, and I'm a sales coach. Yeah. So like those three, so I have to speak to the fears of the consumer as quickly as possible. But if one person says something about my accent and I've never had that before, then I wouldn't bring that up.
Yeah, true. So well, I think again, it was the first time. That's probably why I was so well.
Probably wouldn't need to worry about it.
Definitely. We'll see if we cut this out.
Yeah.
I want to first give you a surprise gift. So this will be something I wanted to share because I didn't realize we were talking for so long. So I found out that you like.
Oh
I've
no!
never had it before. So did you know that this existed, Yorkie Ripper?
What? I do know that exists, but I've never been. I've never been.
Wait, I didn't know it existed, so I got us.
What? Look
I've
at this.
never had one.
Is this sponsored?
No, well that's the thing. They were like, I rang them
Oh
up
my
yesterday.
God. The Brits will appreciate that. That is absolutely amazing.
We do have, I didn't see the time there. I have bibs for us because I know you're wearing a suit, but I have never tried one. So I thought we could
You've
share
never tried
this.
a Yorkshire?
Yeah, we could share this moment together
That is amazing.
because I thought this would be. So tell me about the is it Yorkshire pudding? Is it?
Yorkshire pudding? Yeah, I don't know the history. They're made in Yorkshire, and it's like an institution. Every Sunday you have a Sunday roast, and you have Yorkshires.
I'm glad my partner, because he's like analytical brain, he goes, "Did you ask for condiments?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You need to have gravy."
Gravy? Yeah, you need
So
gravy.
how do I do that? Can I do that?
I don't know how you can do that, but I'm going to take a photo of my Yorkies.
Please. Yay. So shout out to Yorkie Ripper.
That's
Because
amazing.
Anna was saying that you guys have been wanting to go there with the team.
Yeah, we've still never been.
Yeah. Should we try one together? I don't even know what's in this one. How do we do it with the...
What have you got 4 in there as well?
Maybe... Oh, I've got a big one. So why don't we have a little one and then you can take the big one home. That's for you.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know how we're going to do it.
I don't know how to do this either.
You pop one in there somehow.
And do we do... Like,
Yeah,
do we
you got
dip
to...
it?
Yeah, let's dip it. That'll make it
That'd be
easy.
easier.
This is great podcast.
Yay. I'm scared to drip it. I did get bib because I know of your suit.
That's all right. Lisa didn't wear white pants.
I know.
Got it?
Wow, that could have ended.
Oh, look at that. That's good gravy as well.
Yay. All
They
right.
must be English in there. Did you go in?
Yes, his name's Dennis.
Yeah, of course he is.
He's
Yeah.
British.
All right, so I'll have a little dip first.
Yeah, you go first.
Oh, it's thick.
Thick.
It's got to be thick.
How is
That-
it?
I was
We
right
don't
down
agree.
I was right down the barrel of the mic. Oh, that's so good. That's so English. Thank you so much.
Yay. I'm going to have one too. This will be my first time trying this. I was
Oh,
saying to
wow.
Jordan, like, how cool would it if we start doing like a TV show and getting guests on?
That's amazing.
I love first time doing it. Yay.
Could have been Vegemite and that would have ruined the whole podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I was
don't do that.
what not to do.
Yeah,
in
what
front of
not
an
to bring.
English person. All right, hang on. Uh-oh.
I'll see you think.
Oh, wow. I'm going at the end because this is messy. That's good.
They're hard to make. Like, everything has to be perfectly timed. The oil
Oh
and
my God,
batter
it's so good.
needs to be at a certain temperature.
More?
I'll have one more dip.
You go for it. So they've only been, we were asking them this morning, since August last year. So they
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it when they were moving in, but yeah, we just haven't had a chance. That's so good.
It's good? Oh, fuck. I'm
What a
so
great
sorry,
dip
Dean.
that was.
Yay, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to ask one more question,
Okay.
and that is if
with
you,
me.
which is our keys to the Queendom question that we always ask our listeners.
What's
as
covered
they
in
eat.
gravy?
As they eat. Is it dripping? If you were to give the listeners the one key that will open up their keys to the Queendom, what would that key, that piece of advice be?
Key. I have an anchor for decision making these days, and it came from what you would have heard at the conference with my dad telling me to roll the dice because he couldn't roll his dice anymore. And it would be that. It would be roll the dice because no one's going to roll it for you. At some stage, you've got to make the move. And I think a lot of us, we just sit and we wait for doors to be opened for us, and no one's opening that door. So go roll your dice.
Oh, that's pretty powerful. Right, I really appreciate that. And thank you for being here. I'm so glad we made this possible.
Thank you.
And for everyone...
If you told me I had Yorkshire puddings, I'd have come months ago.
Pardon?
I'd have been here months ago if you told me we had Yorkies.
I should have known. But no, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's my first time having it. For everyone else, as you know, I'm coming to your event that's coming in June. If you guys want to get better at sales, be good leaders and sell with integrity as well, please, please, please follow Ryan Tuckwood. Anything that they need to know about your event coming up.
It's free.
It's free.
People like that stuff.
I paid VIP.
It's free. Look at you go. It's free. It's not a pitch fest. That's one of our big things is that we don't put lots of speakers on stage and they pitch products all day long. This particular tour we haven't done since 2019. Wow. It's essentially, now I don't do corporate on the road anymore. It's essentially my $20,000 corporate day that we've charged businesses for the last 7 or 8 years to pay for. So yeah, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, June.
Please come. I'm coming to Brisbane. Yay.
Amazing. Thank
Ryan,
you.
it's been such a pleasure. Thank you for being here. And everyone else, Keys to the Queendom. I am your host, Tamara Meyer. See you next week. I remember the first time I spoke on stage. My heart was racing, palms sweaty, voice was shaking. I was terrified. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because deep down I was afraid of being seen. I was afraid of my own power. But here's the truth no one tells you. Speaking isn't about perfection. It's about connection. When you step onto stage, whether it's a room of 10 or 10,000 people aren't just listening to your word. They're feeling your energy. They're watching to see, does this person believe in what they're saying? Does this person believe in themselves? The power to command a room comes from owning your story, not performing a script. That's what amplifies your voice, and that's what creates impact. I spent years shrinking myself, dimming my light, thinking I had to sound like everyone else to be taken seriously. The moment I let go of the performance and I chose to lead with my truth, my voice changed, my business changed, my life changed, and that's what I want for you. Because when you learn to speak with authority, to lead with conviction, to show up as the fullest, boldest version of you, you don't just inform, you transform. Own your message and create the kind of presence that moves people into action, because your voice is your greatest asset. It's time to use it. So if you're ready to stop shrinking, if you're ready to step into the leader you were born to be, join me at Show Up and Speak Live. The mic is waiting, the world is waiting, and so am I.